Welcome to the Masai Mara, and we're with the local clan of hyenas that live below our camp, and you can see that they've had a busy night. Black, muddy, full of blood. My name is Brent Smith. I have Dangerous Dave Easter on camera, and there's another hyena that's just arrived. Oh no, it's just flopped down in the long grass. Up there, also black and full of blood, and it's quite interesting to try figure out what is going on here. I'm pretty sure from what I could hear last night, there was murder and mayhem in the valley. And we actually, after you saw us driving in the rain last night, we came across some very distressed zebras, and in a very rocky area. What is that noise? Dave, just go to that hyena, it's talking. Now, I wonder if there are lions about. Now, we heard lions roaring further to the east of us, and their heads were up and they were listening carefully. Now, I wonder if they made a kill or did they steal last night. These hyenas are adept at both. Now, as I was saying, we saw this very nervous zebra on the road. And I was like, oh, these zebra look very nervous. And it was on a really rocky section of the road, right up on the edge of the mountain. And then all of a sudden, this hyena came charging, trying to separate the foal. And I think it's a tactic they use, these hyenas that live up against the escarpment. They chase zebra and other animals in those rocks, causing them to either fall down or possibly break a leg. And then obviously, it's all over for them from there. Now, Pierre is wondering how many clans of hyena do we have in this area? Ooh, Pierre, many. There's just in this little area below our camp, there are at least 2 clans. Then there's North Clan, South Clan, Laughing, Happy Zebra Clan. Then there's another clan, Ngiro Ari clan. In the triangle, I'd probably say there's Paradise Valley clan. There's at least 10 clans, and all of them are pretty big by Southern African standards. I'd say this clan's probably close on 40. There's another clan of about 50, 60 down towards the airstrip. North Clan is the biggest I know about close to us, and they're close to 90. Pierre's also wondering how many different species of hyena do we get here. Well, in Kenya you get 2 different species. You get striped hyena and you get spotted hyena. Now, we're not going to see any striped hyena down here in the Mara, and that's just because there's so many spotties. Look at that, ears up. I heard lions again. I think I might have a wander into that direction just now to see if we can find that lion. It sounded like one of the male lions. Okay. Now, I know you had lots of lions roaring at Djuma last night, so hopefully we can both find our roaring lions this morning.
Say anything about a Cheetah, so she just...
We are here in the Masai Mara with the most incredible sighting. So Brent mentioned earlier that he felt as though there was murder and mayhem last night at some point at the foot of the mountain that we live on. And we have our answer. A bit of a gruesome sight for those of you with slightly easily upset stomachs, but an absolutely fascinating one. My name is Jamie. This morning Dave is on camera with me, just like he's on camera with Brent, because right now we have one vehicle and we're both in it. So it's still Dave on camera, and we are here at the base of the hill that the Masai Mara is. Sorry, what am I talking about? I'm talking about our camp, Ngama Mara, and our camp that is next to it. So, the hyenas came racing out. Brent heard them chattering this morning, and it looks as though they have killed a hippopotamus. So we don't know if they were responsible just without that hippopotamus's eye. Ooh. We strongly suspect that that was not removed by the hyena, but by a tawny eagle that is sitting by and waiting for its opportunity. And these hyenas are just filthy. Look at them. They are absolutely covered in mud. It's entirely possible that they at some point last night chased this hippopotamus into the muddy wallow. Hyenas here do hunt hippo. They have the numbers. The clans in Djuma and in the Sabi Sand just don't really have, and they actually don't need to. But these, interestingly enough, these hyenas have been very, very skittish and constantly looking up and listening to the sound of the lions roaring in the distance. Abby, the hyenas here do indeed use dens here in the Mara. They just look slightly different because the termite mounds are not particularly large, and sometimes you can actually barely even see the termite mounds where they have their burrows. And the structure's slightly different. I've noticed a lot of very young hyenas wandering about with the adults. So obviously with the distances here that they cover and that they have to travel. Hey, you are filthy. Look at you. You're going to need a very big bath after that. Whoa. King of the castle. With the distances they have to travel, I think that I presume the cubs come out younger and start to follow the clan at a younger age. That's something that we're going to see as we spend more and more time with them and as we communicate with the researchers that have been studying these hyenas for a long period of time. If you would like your question answered in the same way, don't forget to send it through on #SafariLive on Twitter. Now, Shaylin, of course you will have heard the nickname of the spotted hyena, which is the laughing hyena, and you want to know if hyenas really laugh. They do. It's not actually them laughing. They're not laughing because it's comic. The sound that they make, hyenas are very vocal creatures. The sound that they make it sounds like people cackling away. And they usually do it at times of sort of heightened excitement, especially around a kill, which obviously led to the idea and of course contributed to the terrible reputation and stigma that surrounds hyenas. Although, this one's really not, as it wanders through the mud, not really portraying the image of the intelligent, fantastic creatures that they truly are. But they do laugh, they cackle, and it's a fascinating sound. We've also heard them talking to each other the whole morning. Low sounds, sort of growling sounds. And interestingly enough, sound I've never heard from our sand hyena, at least while I've been there, and actually any hyena that I've seen in South Africa, a low vibration. It's I can't really imitate it. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it's a sound that I've never heard before, and hopefully in the course of our time here in Kenya, we'll be able to capture that sound on camera. Now, this is a serious meal, but there's lots of hyenas here too. There's about 10 of them. Just hold on a second. There's a hyena calling, and the others are responding. Let's just see if they call. From far away. Talking to each other. There's the one on the right, Dave, that's calling. Calling back to the hyena that was whooping far to the distance, back towards the mountain. Don't you think it sounds a little bit different? Obviously that was a contact call rather than a territorial whoop. That is the sound that hyenas are, spotted hyenas at least, are most famous for. Ooh. It's one of my favourite sounds in the world. And there must be about eight that
I'm
Molly, you want to know why do hyenas have larger numbers in the Mara? Prey density, I think, would be the big answer to that. There's just more food. There's more food to support them. There's more availability. And even though competition with lions is rife, it's high, there's lots and lots. Dave, look at that hyena over there on its back. Or can you get all the way to it? Yeah. Oh, as I said that, it stopped, of course. Competition with lions is rife, but there's enough food to feed all of them. So that's why the numbers are much, much higher here. The numbers of general game are 10 times higher than you would see the prey density here. Where are you off to? Look at there. You can see the excitement in the raised tails. What have you seen? I love hyenas. It's going to be so much fun getting to know the different dynamics. Oh, they're running towards a hyena that's on the top of the crest. Or not quite, sort of halfway up that first. Can you see it there, Dave? There we go. They're racing off. That must have been the hyena that I heard calling. And they're racing off in that direction. Let's see how far they get, though. Because I'm not sure that they're going to be able to... Oh, they're not going to be too bothered about racing all the way there with full bellies full of hippopotamus. Now, speaking of our poor deceased hippopotamus, I think it was Robert. The communication from FC is quite soft, but apparently it was Robert. Robert, you want to know how many hyenas it would take to have killed this hippopotamus? I don't know. I've got no idea, and it's hard to judge with this sort of a bloated, muddy carcass. I would guess and say you'd need about 20, probably even more, depending on what sort of situation you have. Brent is saying he thinks less. He thinks 10. From the researchers. Okay.
They've seen takedown.
Okay. Brent's been speaking to the hyena researchers. He said they've seen as few as 10 hyena take down a hippopotamus. That must have been a serious battle when you think about the sheer difference in weight from even these hyenas are a little bit smaller. So what would we say, 60, 70 kilogram hyenas up against an animal that can weigh up to 2 tons? There's a massive difference in weight, and the fact that 10 of them can actually coordinate to do that just gives you an idea of just how intelligent hyena truly are. Because that takes really powerful social intelligence and coordination to be able to pull off a stunt like that. They don't, unlike lions, they don't have the advantage of sheer bulk and size. Someone's taking an opportunity to go and feed off the hippopotamus while everyone else is gone. Still thinking about it though, because of course, to get to the hippopotamus, you've got to go into the slippery mud. Waiting for all of the other hyenas to go. It's obviously had a chance to feed. Looks like a youngster to me. Doesn't look like an old hyena. Here's this dark hyena. There's a couple of them. There's 2 that I suspect were quite high ranking, and they've been watching the whole time, listening to the sounds of the lions calling. Oh, in you go. Is that a bit slippery there? You understand the tentative approach. It's not all that easy, and it does involve getting just a little bit dirty. And Mika, who is one of our 8-year-old viewers, Mika, welcome. I hope you are having fun. Mika, you want to know if hyenas will clean themselves in the same way that cats do. Not really. To be honest, Mika, hyenas aren't particularly bothered by the whole idea of personal hygiene. It's very possible to see a hyena covered in caked-on day-old mud. They don't seem to be too bothered. They wait for it to dry. They'll roll it off a little bit. What they will do is they will roll around and sort of scrape their fur on the ground. But I think they do that more for the comfortable feeling that it gives them and the fact that it scratches their skin rather than to try and clean themselves. And you don't really see hyenas do a lot of allo grooming. They touch each other. So what I mean by that is they don't groom each other in the way that lionesses do. They'll go up and they'll sniff each other, and occasionally you might see 1 or 2 licks, but you don't see the same bonds. You only really see grooming between mothers and cubs. You don't see it within the different members of the clan. Darby, can we go back up to where those hyenas? I was wrong. They've all gone racing up the hill. Let's go see what they're doing. If you go a little bit to the left there, about halfway up the hill. Wait, where are you? If you go to the top where that tree is, the tree that's sticking out at the crest, yeah, and go a bit to the right. You can see them there. There you go. There you go. Oh, that's very far away. And there are lots and lots of hyena all over that crest. It gives you an idea of the numbers here. Somebody's got something that they're eating and chewing on. Looks like a leg. So probably not from our hippopotamus, actually. And that hyena looks as though it's got the bulk of the meal. I wonder if they didn't kill something else as well last night. I think so. They could easily have caught a zebra. We saw them chasing a zebra foal yesterday. And coordinating in a way that's powerfully intelligent, and I suppose for some people might be considered quite sinister, in the way that they chased them onto the slippery, muddy roads and up into the rocks of the mountains where they actually couldn't get up the bank. And you could see the panic in the zebra while we were watching them last night. Look at this, there's just hyenas everywhere. Off they go, racing along. And now they're whooping. Awesome. We're going to have the most amazing hyena sightings here in the Mara, but there's also amazing things to be found on Djuma. Let's go and see what luck Ali has had. Look at this absolutely amazing scene in front of us. Where else in the world can you see something like this? A lion and an elephant so close together. So this is my first meeting with one of the Ngama lionesses. Well, we think it's an Ngama lioness. I assume it is in this particular area. I have not yet encountered them before. Apparently, there are 3 brand new members of this particular pride that, as far as we know, there's a little bit of confusion and there's a little bit of speculation, but as far as we know, there's 4 adult females in this pride, 7 cubs, and now 3 new ones. And this could well be the mother, because apparently we're not far away. And I keep saying apparently because I've only been here for a couple of days. I'm still learning my way around. But apparently we are not far at all from where those cubs were actually seen. And they're very, very tiny at the moment and denning off in one of the drainage lines, which is called a laga. A laga. There we go. I'm getting there. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this particular pride. They're closest to our camp and the area that we drive around in and get, for now, reliable signal. That will change as things go on, and we'll be able to get signal throughout the area that we traverse. But I think we're going to be spending a lot of time with the Ngama ladies. Hey, gorgeous. She is beautiful. That there's no real need to stress. He knows she's there. She knows he's there. She's just keeping an eye on him, just in case he decides to come and chase her. He doesn't seem to have that on his mind, though. And of course, she knows that she is faster and far more agile than he is. Oh, but that is an incredible shot, Dave. Two iconic animals right up next to each other. Now she's looking at him. Hey, big boy. Oh, Getting closer. He's probably, it's a little bit deceptive because of the way that she's sitting on a sort of a ridge or a small termite mound. In that, I think that they're probably about at least 30 meters apart. So they're further apart than they look. It looks at the moment like he's actually towering over her when I look at what you're seeing. But she's probably a little bit further away than she appears to be. Stunning. And good morning to Violet. Violet, you would like to know if these two animals are typically aggressive towards each other. I would say most encounters are relatively peaceful, provided that there's plenty of space between the two of them. They know each other of old. There are species that two species that have evolved side by side. Lions can and do hunt elephants in certain areas, especially if they are really particularly struggling to find food, or if there's big lion prides. And elephants often chase lions. We've seen that often on Djuma, particularly with lions on a kill. If an elephant herd comes through, they tend to chase the lions away, the lions run off, and then they come back as soon as the elephants have moved away. Elephants don't particularly like predators. It doesn't have to be lions. It can be leopards. I personally have never seen an elephant chase a cheetah, but I'm sure it happens. Just as they will chase wild dogs and hyena and anything like that. So it's not that they're aggressive towards each other, really. They just don't enjoy each other's company particularly. And Kim, I think that particular question leads on quite nicely. In my opinion, the king of the bush is most definitely an elephant. They're just the biggest things out here, particularly a big bull elephant. Once they've reached a certain age, they really are too massive for anything to challenge them, both in terms of vehicles on the road and lions. I would say that hands down, that title goes to the elephant. That whole king of the jungle thing doesn't really apply out here. But it does provide us with some amazing, amazing images. It gives you a sense of scale as well. This place is so absolutely vast. Anthony, you want to know if there's any differences between the lions of South Africa and the lions of Kenya. Can I get back to you on that? I mean, yes, there will be small biological differences in terms of genetics, but nothing major in terms of their physical appearance. You might find that the development of their manes is slightly different, the ages at which they develop their manes. But what will be different is their social behavior, or at least their interactions with each other. And it'll be interesting to see exactly how that dynamic plays out. There are all kinds of differences. Oh, sorry, Dave. I was about to go back to talking about the lioness and the differences. Sorry. There's all sorts of differences just in terms of what they have to deal with out here. So their hunting strategy might be quite different. Their way that they have to approach the whole migration is also different. The migration is a time of plenty for them. Food just arrives basically at their doorstep, and they don't really have to move much. Then in the season when the wildebeest leave and the place goes back to being slightly quieter, then they have to work slightly harder. So there will absolutely be differences. Hey girl, you got little ones somewhere. Wouldn't you like to show us? It would be very nice of you if you did. Oh well, we'll see them. We'll see them at some point. Look at that. Oh, and we've got a third species. Actually, we've got a fourth species as well. Dave, if we have a look over there, we've got two approaching buffalo bulls and one warthog. Everything seems massive here. I can't quite decide if that's because of the space or the food abundance, but everything seems to be double the size that not quite double the size, that is a massive exaggeration. It just seems to be a little bit bigger. These buffalo bulls are dotted around everywhere here, and the grass is so long at the moment that I would absolutely not want to walk around here, because all of a sudden you drive past and a buffalo bull pops up right next to the road, but right next to you, and you'd have absolutely no idea he was there unless he sticks his head up. And there you can see there's a yellow-billed oxpecker sitting on his back, the more common species here. And there we go. We've seen 3 of the typically iconic big 5, if we can use a very outdated term, and 1 warthog. Kim, talking about predators, iconic predators, you want to know if there's any wild dogs in the Mara. Very, very few, apparently. One of the big things that has happened with it's something a problem that we share in South Africa, but especially here, is wild dogs interacting with domestic dogs. Now, there's a very different approach here in Kenya, and it's just a different approach. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just a very different approach, and it has to be, because this is a completely separate country with different political issues. But there are no fences around these reserves, which means that wild dogs, of course, could potentially even more easily than in South Africa, they can come into contact with domestic dogs that spread diseases like rabies and distemper, and there's very few wild dogs running around. Apparently they are seen occasionally, but I think not very frequently. But imagine a pack of wild dogs hunting on these open areas. We're going to see lions hunting, we're going to see cheetah hunting. Brent's already seen all of those things. It is going to be spectacular when it happens. I'm still trying to show you the banded mongoose, though. That's next on my list of things I want to show you. They're everywhere. Something you don't see on Djuma. We never managed to get them on camera because they just run away. They've been running around this lioness all morning, but now I can't see them anymore. They've disappeared. Gone off foraging. Alright, oh, the lioness is up. Where are you going, girl? Hold on a minute. I wonder if she's not going to take us round. Apparently there is a road on the other side. I think what we're going to do is we're going to race to catch up with that lioness, but what we'll do for now is we'll send you all the way back to Djuma, to Ali, to see if she's had any luck. We are back once again with our hippo carcass in the mud, and as you can see, these are not the animals that were here earlier with us, feeding off the hippo carcass. I don't know where our hyenas have gone, but they have been replaced by 3 different species of vulture. Sitting on top of the hippo carcass, king of the castle for now, so to speak, is a white-backed vulture, the most common vulture species that we see out here, apparently. So the 3 species here, the lappet-faced vultures, and just look at them. They are absolutely massive when you compare them to the white-backed vultures, their bright red heads. Actually quite striking birds. I wouldn't say they're beautiful, but with their black and white, no, they're definitely not beautiful. They are striking. Even that might be a little bit of a stretch. And Brent thinks or hopes that perhaps the vultures will bring in the lions. And now we've got the collection of birds here. REB, you want to know if vultures are picky when it comes to muddy carcasses. They don't like to get their feet muddy, and in fact, half of the entertainment of the sighting has been watching them all scrabble for a position on the carcass without having to stand in the mud. And a couple of them have slipped and... there we go. A couple of them have slipped and fallen in a few times, and they're not very happy about the whole situation. You can see them shaking their feet in a frustrated way before settling in to feed once again, and they're screeching away at each other. Right, and then our 3rd species, Dave, if we can just go back to the ones on the termite mound. Thank you, and the one on the left. There we go. There's our third species, a Ruppel's griffin, the highest recorded flying bird, flying up at heights of up to 32,000 feet. They've been recorded to fly. Pretty birds. Well, I mean pretty feathers, not pretty birds. Nobody's ever going to call vultures pretty. And they are definitely the more dominant ones over the white-backed. And before the lappet-faced arrived, the Ruppels and I think over the course of the next day or so, or possibly even longer, this hippocarcass is going to bring us some truly extraordinary scenes. The hyenas might come back, they might try and chase the vultures away, the lions might come in, which might in turn bring them into conflict with the hyenas. So who knows how this situation is going to play out. I know I'm excited. I'm sure you all are as well. You can hear them screeching away with their loud voices. There's horrible screeches. All right, on that note, it is time for us to all say goodbye and thank you very quickly. So thank you to Dave. Thank you, Dave, for your wonderful camera work. Thank you to our Djuma crew. We have missed you all. We do miss you all. Thank you to Alice and thank you to Chantal. And of course, most importantly, thank you to all of you. We will catch up with you again.